The Aztec modular Shree comes in different types. So there are different types of modular Shrees. Okay? And we've discussed this at length in this channel. But the modular Shree is called the modular Shree because they have modules attached to them. With different modules come different abilities. Right? So the modular Shree is built in a modular way, with modules being attached to modules. Okay? But there are different types. So you have the warriors of the Aztec, which are bound to the Dharma and reincarnate as Aztec warrior Shree gods, right? And they are coming and are already here. And they are modular Shree, Aztec Shree, built in a modular functionality. So they come with their modules, right? And depending on how blessed the warrior is, because the Aztec warriors are called the blessed warriors. They get blessings from the higher gods of the Aztec pantheon, right? And whether they be associated to the sun god as eagle knights or to Tezcatlipoca as jaguar warriors, whether they be the force of the main line, the eagle knights, or the advancing force, the jaguars. Well, they are the heroes of the Aztec story. So they do not go to the regular underworld where most Aztec society would go. Civilians, for example, which are not very highly esteemed in Aztec society. Important, but not particularly esteemed by the gods. But the esteemed warriors, the ones that are summoned to the great court of the gods, where Ometeotl comes down from where he resides as an Adishree and witnesses the rise of an Aztec hero, a modular Shree, right? And at that point, depending on how much merit that warrior has received, they are blessed with different modules and turned into a modular Shree, right? As the Omtec is an Adishree, right? So is able to transfer the connection of the Shree to make someone divine and to different levels through the the dish dispensing system, and granting different types of breakfasts, including the divine, royal, supreme to divinity. So there are different levels of beings, and the Adish distributes in different ways, as the Adishree are known as the Adish, right? The dish dispensers. So, the modular Shree come. They are Aztec Shree, modular Shree, gifted with different types of modules, a different type of Shree than the classic Shree of the Dharma. And depending on what package they are given, this determines their abilities as an Aztec modular Shree. And the progression, as in all things Shree, comes through grace of the one that makes you Shree, through which you are Shree. So in that same way, they're graced and gifted a package, and that's what it's called. A modular package. So a modular package is gifted to a modular Shree, right? An Aztec Shree. And they come equipped with their modules, right? And then they come equipped at the level at which they are and their level of experience, right? Also comes into play. So you have more and less developed modular Shree, equipped with different modules and with more or less experience in how to use them. So not only do you have modules that are given to the modular Shree, you also have the level of experience in utilizing those modules, and not only in utilization of the specific modules, but also in general things like strategy, right? Strategy and initiative and planning and cunning and all different characteristics of individual heroes. Or as they're called, Aztec pilots, right? Because they're pilot modular Shree that come into the story, pilots that navigate, right, their incarnation with the modules that they are gifted with during their incarnation as modular Shree. So they are Shree that are limited to their incarnation, right? Their utilization of module is specific to their application and presence on the battlefield, if you want to see it that way, as the Shree operate in that way. So they are Shree that are essentially specific to their incarnations, right? To their missions, right? To their purpose. So in that way, they are gifted a package of modules, right? You could say modules as special abilities that can be utilized in different combinations, okay? Which is, for example, in Dharma culture and Hindu culture, known as city powers, but different exist. These are different. These are modules. So modules function as city powers, but in a different way. They are from a different Adish, right? As the modules come from a system Adish that comes from Adishree Omtec, and then you have different distribution of city powers that come from Adishree Rasiva, or also known as Shiva, right? And that development stage of that Adishree, right? So you have the modular Shree. And these modular packages are gifted to pilot Aztec Shree as they enter the story, right? So you have here, for example, a picture just above me here of an Aztec Shree. This is a representation of myself as an Aztec Shree, a royal Shree, the prince that is king. So the Aztec Shree come into the story, right? And the Aztec Shree are not bound to go to the same underworld where the rest of Aztec society goes, right? So they actually are basically interconnected and interweaved into the fabric of the Dharma, and they basically reintegrate. So they're cursed in a way to reincarnate over and over again into the story and the Dharma, you know. So they come in that way, and they keep coming back as well. You know, the heroes keep coming back, so they're basically reincarnated over and over again into the Dharma with modular packages, and they do their functions as modular Shrees, right? So this is the great Aztec force, the great Aztec pilots, modular Shrees in the system, as there are different types of Shrees and different cultures coming from different Adishree, from different dish dispensers, right? So basically at that point, they come with their modular packages. Now you have some Aztec Shree that come with what is called a full package. So a full package is the full range of modules, right? So a full package is only gifted to a divine royal, right? So someone who's really at that really highest level, someone who's part of the royal family of the gods, right? So you have a divine royal, which is going to be a divine royal of the Aztec pantheon, okay, comes into the story with what is called a full package. So full package gives you basically all of the modules and all the access and utilization of all the different modules in existence, which gives you a full control over the system, and the systems in which you control are usually specialized. So although they have a full package, an Aztec royal god has a full package, they usually specialize in the utilization of some modules versus others. So those are usually their areas of responsibilities as the main gods that oversees those things. So for example, the rains, the floods, the storms, all those elements of nature and reality that are managed by those royal Shree, royal gods of the pantheon, right? So basically, all those functions that they specialize in, and basically when they make their pilot image, if they make a pilot image as well, as you see above here, it usually represents their specific functions and what they're specialized in as well. So there's different coding to the images, such as, for example, the color of, whether they have feathers or whether they have a spotted coat like that, right? And basically what that means as part of their clans, right? Whether they're associated to the leopard warriors, or whether they're associated to the eagles, the eagle warriors, right? So it depends, and that determines how the pilot picture is drawn and all this. And a pilot picture is a representation of the Shree in a Shree form, basically. So basically you have that Shree that is a being, as you would experience seeing a regular being, but that comes with that modular package of powers, right? So comes into the story with those powers, and we have different beings from different cultures coming into the story with powers, as they have their origin stories, their creation stories, their Adish, right? Their dish dispenser at the very top and level where they get their power from. And then there's the different Adish, right? Being 12 Adish totally, in the full 12 of the Adish, the dish dispensers that dispense powers. So the modular Shree are extremely powerful Shree. Okay, they come from the first of the Adishree, the Omtec, who created all the Adishree, and the Aztec are his personal project in which he established himself as the deity of the culture, right, and of the gods, and created the Tej, which is the Aztec equivalent to the Dharma, but more like a back end of the Dharma that exists in its own way, right? So you could see it almost as like a magical world where the gods live, and have the stories where the stories of the gods of the Aztecs take place, right? And then there's a bunch of stories related to that as well. So so the modular Shrees come in with different modules, okay? And then you have basically the royal gods that have the full package, okay, of modules. And they specialize in certain applications. So they're known usually as the main god of this, the main god of that function, the main god of those things, right? So in this way, I'm known in the dual function as the prince who is king, right? And the prince is Tezcatlipoca, right? The prince who is king, and the king is Omtec, Ometecuitl, basically. So it's the prince who is king, and that's this Aztec picture that comes in, and then there's other people, other Aztecs, for example, the other children of Omtec, right? So the children of Omtec are the royal gods, basically, of the Aztec, and they come into the story at one point or another. And do major functions. So for example, I'm not the one who specializes in certain functions, but I had to take on certain functions because they had to be done, and the deities that are going to be doing those functions are not yet basically into the story at this point to do those functions, right? So they had to be done in this way, because some functions can only be done in body, right? So until that function can be done by the god that usually oversees that function in body, well, then another member of the royal gods could take over that function and just take on that function to speed up processes in the meantime, until the one who usually does that function comes and starts doing that function in body, as an avatar, right? as a modular Shree with a full package, and they're doing their specialization. So some of the ways of seeing specializations, for example, in Aztec Shree modular pictures and pilot pictures, as they're called, is looking at their dress, looking at the colors that they have, looking at, when you look at Aztec gods, you see what is looks as plumes coming out of them, right? Always plumes, of colors, and they kind of follow a pattern. Well, those aren't plumes, okay? They are in a way, but they're not really plumes. So they're represented as plumes because they're plumes, but they actually are more than plumes. So it's a lot more than that, and it all functions within the system. There's a reason for that, and the reason for the colors behind them, and all those different things. So also, for example, you look at a modular Shree picture. If you see anything on any kind of covering on their head, that's usually a sign that they're extremely powerful and that they've got a good package, as a being, because that comes in usually and tells them, whether they have feathers or whether they have a hat. And then whether those are feathers or like different, how many feathers and all these different things are all elements basically referring to the full package or the power of the god and the different modules that they have, right? And their story within the story and how much development has been given to that story, right? And how much development will take fruit in the lifetime of that avatar, of that god, right? So you have the Aztec modular Shree. And they come with their packages, modular packages they're called, okay? Different abilities that they're gifted with that they connect to. So basically different things that come into them and empower them, right? A modular package, and that's where the power of the Aztec Shree come from, right? As they are only limited to the power that they are given, these types of Aztec Shree, the modular Shree, except if they get the full package, except if they're of the royal family of Omtec, in which case they're given a lot more storyline within the story that is truth exactly and spoken exactly as it is of the Aztec. If the royal gods are given more of the storyline space for development than other people in the society. So in that way, you have the modular Shree that come in as the warriors, and then you also have the divine royals that come in as well and lead in doing the main functions of nature and society and creation and all these different things, including working with the elements, making sure that there's enough rain for the fields, that there's no drought, and all these different things. So as the gods start performing their functions, and it's tiring for the gods to do these functions too when they're in human beings. That's why, when the gods used to visit in the Aztec times, they were treated as gods because that's what they were, and they did their work. It's not like the gods got like a free pass. They did their work and their storyline for the story of the Aztecs, and other people all did their individual contributions as well, seeking to empower the gods so that all people could be immortalized within the Tej and the pantheon of the gods and the afterlife of the Aztecs and all of this, and to empower their society, to basically ensure their legacy as a people. So they took all the processes necessary to do that in their lifetime, and in the days where they had self-determination over their space, as far as an empire, and self-determination of the course of their people, who has not necessarily been lost. So modular Shree come in with modular Shree packages, okay, and then you have different types of packages. So a little bit like avatars in a system. It's not. This is not a game. This is the story of our lives and how it functions and all that. A wonderful fairy tale world, yes, but not a game. But I'm almost like a game we would develop in some of the games we have now, computer games and things like that. You have a character and you have different specializations, right? That you're given, for example, depending on the class of character that you choose, or that you're basically given with a roll of the dice, or maybe you play some games, and as you play a lot, you unlock specific new abilities, right? So it's a little bit in that way, a little bit as well. Okay, so the Aztec Shree come in with modular packages which give them specific abilities, and depending on the package that they are gifted, you'll often get an indication of that package through their pilot picture, which they might not make public, and which is usually coded to many degrees as well. As you know, maybe your pilot picture is a public profile potentially. So you reveal some things, but you don't reveal some things. Because every Shree keeps their secrets. It's basically a rule that the Shrees have their secrets, and they reveal many things because everybody wants the knowledge of the gods. Everybody wants it. You know, they'll hide and they'll bug your place. They'll do whatever necessary to get the knowledge of the gods. That's what everybody wants. But the Shrees reveal what they want to reveal, right? So as the Shree Avatar, I reveal these things, all these secrets to you on this channel, because I want to reveal them to the world, because I think it can do some good to the world to have light and knowledge and truth, and to share it and reveal it, for those who are looking for it, right? I know that if I was looking, if I was seeking, I would appreciate to find these truths, right? And to have them available to me. And also, as I was building my life and my future and developing my story as a human being, as a being of any color and of any type, of any race, of any ethnicity, of any species, whether human or another sentient intelligent species, okay, I know that I would want to have the truth, as much of the truth as I could get, about these types of things, about the greater truths of reality. Like, I might be interested in science, for example, or I might be interested in construction, or I might be interested in arts, or I might be interested, people are interested in different things. And in this way, this is a subjective interest for some people, but it definitely touches on the life of all people. So, I'm the type of person, if something touches on my life, it's probably something that I should interest myself into, because closing your eyes to something is not necessarily, it's the way of the ostrich. You put your head in the sand, but that doesn't mean that you won't necessarily have an interaction with something, So the modular Shree are very powerful Shree. Okay, and they come with different levels of ability. Some of them take different stances within the battle army of the Aztec gods. Some of them are much more aggressive, and some of them are much more steadfast and take different approaches. As the basically military force of the Aztec gods is established according to the two great tribes of the leopard warriors, and the jaguar warriors. All right, sorry, I said leopard earlier as well. The jaguar warriors, and also the eagle knights. Right, so the eagle knights. So that reveals a lot about the battle formations of the Aztecs, right? But it doesn't change anything because they're so powerful with their modules that, it doesn't really matter. So you have different types of Aztec warriors, Aztec knights coming into the story, and depending on their level, okay, their level of experience, their level of expertise, their level of development, they come in basically with different specializations, yes, because they have their modules that they're gifted, and they come in with different levels of experience in using those modules, but not only in using the modules, but also in strategies of war, right? So they use different strategies and work in different ways, right? And some of them work in a combined way, some of them work in an individual way, as you have, for example, the famous kamikaze warriors, the jaguar warriors. The famous kamikaze warriors, all the systems that operate in many different levels of Loka, fear to have an attack done on them by a jaguar warrior of caliber. you know, because it's just the crazy warrior kamikaze that just comes in and just starts destroying everything, all systems, you know, brings total destruction. And then you know that the main line is never far behind, because you know that if you don't resist the Jaguar Warrior and the Jaguar Warrior establishes a foothold in your lines, you know that there's going to be an advancement of the Eagle Warrior line, of the Eagle line, the main line that's going to advance and that's going to start pushing for all your systems back. All right. So these are different things that are part of the story, you know, and that take place. And there's a lot more to be said about these different things. But everybody fears the arrival of a Jaguar Warrior. You know, everybody. Because they know that the Jaguar Warrior comes in with the power to do a lot of damage. And if they're an experienced pilot, you know, it's best not to invite them. So everybody knows it's good to be on good terms with the Aztec gods, because they have a lot of abilities, a lot of powers, and are, you know, they're going to keep coming back and back and back and back and back forever, you know, in the Dharma. So it's a good thing to try to establish good relations. Thank you for listening to this video on the Zen Warrior channel.